City Council asked for a special meeting to occur at 5:15 today to discuss the creation of a transparency website. We'll submit the February 6, 2017 letter for the record, which includes the details which these council members like to include in that website. I'll lead off the meeting by just making a motion that this item be heard before the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. Mr. City Attorney?
Roll. Okay, we get the roll,
We need
Mayor?
a special roll call. We need to cover, okay,
Yes.
roll call, please. Sorry about that.
Councilman DeCiccio. This is a roll call for attendance. Councilman Nowakowski.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor. Councilwoman Stark.
Here.
Councilman Valenzuela.
Here.
Councilman Waring. Councilwoman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Gallego.
Here.
Mayor Stanton.
Here, so the motion was to have this item, including the letter, before the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any
I
opposed?
got a substitute motion.
Passes.
Wait, we're not going to debate it?
Motion passes.
Well, how do you do that?
Mayor, I
without-
didn't have a chance to vote on that.
I didn't cast a vote.
Okay, the motion was to hear the item before the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee.
But
There
isn't that
was
like-
a second.
But don't you have a debate also where you say, hey, any questions, roll call? Yeah.
They'll have an opportunity to hear it before the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee, and then when action is taken, it'll be heard before this full City Council, so there'll be plenty of opportunity for debate
But
on
we're
this
allowed to ask
item.
questions, right? Are you, Mayor, it's okay. If you don't want us to ask
All in
questions.
favor
Okay, well.
of the motion, say aye.
May I have a roll?
Aye.
Roll
Any-
call.
Aye.
vote. Roll
There's a
call
request for a
vote.
roll call. Roll call.
Councilman DeCiccio.
Explanation of my vote, Mayor. I'm going to vote yes only because this is like the weirdest day, the most odd day, that you're literally taking away the right for us to ask questions. The way this is being handled right now is disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the public. The council members have a right and an obligation to be able to ask questions. We are now being prevented from asking questions. I don't mind this going to the Transportation Committee. If we would have had a debate, I would have been okay with that anyways. But I would have wanted a set timeline that was going to be heard. I mean, literally, it's being sent to a committee to be buried. But I guess we'll be sending this, we'll put another letter together and have it come out again. We can do this repeatedly until it gets heard and why it gets brought forward. And that's what's going to end up happening. So if you want to see this come up over and over and over again, do it the way you're going to do it today. But at the end of the day, you're going to need to hear it out, and you're going to need to have the debate, and it's going to happen. So if they don't hear it in the next, let's say, 15 to 30 days, I assume we're going to send another letter out. We're going to have another meeting like this to hear it, and that's what's going to happen. So you can drag it out, or you could have us ask questions today. But I'll vote yes. Just
Additional comments on the motion to send it to Transportation, Councilwoman Thelda Williams Subcommittee? Councilman Nowakowski, please.
Mayor, when I was first elected within the 3 months of my election, I asked to put all financial statements from our campaigns on the website, and that happened. And I think it's something that individuals use on a regular basis to find out who's donating to different council members, and it keeps us legit, and it's ethical, and it's the right thing to do. And I think what we're trying to do here is the same thing, is that right now we've been talking about lobbyists, we've been talking about gifts, we've been talking about travel, we've been talking about just different things, conferences and stuff like that. And I believe that right now we do actually put it on the on different websites, but how do we create an easy approach that individuals can actually go to and see our transactions that we do as council members? Who do we interact with? Who has influence over the council members by either donating to their campaigns, if people think that members are actually being used or not. So I think it's just a way for us to be more transparent, more open to the community. So I think that rushing this and not having a conversation about it, I'm very disappointed. I mean, at first I thought we were going to sit down here and really talk about how to be more transparent, how to be more open in the city of Phoenix. The last meeting we just had, it was supposed to go on to our subcommittee, the Public Safety Subcommittee. Councilmember Williams came to me with an idea saying, I think we can solve this whole debate by coming out with this chart. She showed it to me. I agreed with her. We didn't go to the subcommittee, but there was a dialogue. There was some communication. There's no type of communication here. It seems like we're trying to hide something. It's not trying to hide anything. I think what we want to do is be more open, more transparent, and especially right now with the whole debate with our president and with our different parties being divided, I think the residents of the city of Phoenix need us as leaders to be more open, more transparent, and I'm just very disappointed. I'm going to vote no because I think this thing is being rushed. I think it's okay to send it to the subcommittee, but the way we're handling it and rushing it through I'm very disappointed. I've never seen this happen before in the council.
I'm going to switch my vote as well, Mayor, to no.
Okay,
For
so
that
the
reason.
memo came out, or the request for the meeting came out at 5 o'clock. Guess we're having a meeting at 5:15. The request is that it go before the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee, so it has a chance to be discussed and debated, and you'll vote no because it's being rushed. Councilman Waring?
So I read this list 2 weeks ago at a council meeting, so everybody's had 14 days to review it. The memo about this came out, I think, immediately subsequent to hearing about the flow chart we got. Well, I guess I didn't hear about the flow chart. I actually got what we voted on today as I walked into the meeting today. But to say that this is something that hasn't been known for a long time, I think is wrong. 14 days is certainly longer than the few minutes we had to ponder today's vote. But I did just want to read, what's in here. I'm not disappointed. I'm not casting aspersions. That's not my thing. The world is not full of that many surprises as I've grown older. But I will say, I'll read what was on here. I just wanted to create, we've got press releases going out here today talking about transparency and so forth. Thought we had this with the 14 days notice of exactly what I plan to do. So the City of Phoenix creating a transparency website to include the following. Now, some of this, as Councilman Nowakowski pointed out, is on the city's website already. You just can't find it. I have an example of a payment ordinance right here. It's the mayor's office, but it's not just him. I'm sure it's probably all of them. You can't. It's $1,313.31 on August 16th, but who knows what it was for? It doesn't say. So I think there's probably a lot of examples like that on there. So you can go search around on the website and you can say, well, look, see, we spent $1,300 on such and such a date, but you don't know what it's for. You'd have to go search for it in different places. So this would just put all this stuff in one pot. So a line item account of all discretionary funds used by the mayor's office and each council office, include a description of the items purchased and the reason for purchase. Now, I think that stuff's online, but whether it's clearly laid out or not, I think is probably not the case. I'm comfortable with everybody looking at whatever we're purchasing, toner and so forth. I'm sure the other offices are fine too. I do know in the past, there are things that probably at least one previous member, I think there are things there that people would have probably raised an eyebrow about. Travel outside Maricopa County paid for by the city, nonprofits, businesses, corporations, government agencies, etc. And any and all costs associated with travel, included but not limited to air travel, transportation, food, lodging, and conference fees. There was an incident in Glendale, I can't remember the particulars, the person is no longer a council person now, I believe they're a City of Phoenix employee, where there was a lot of buying of food and so forth. I think the Republic did several stories about that. You can look it up. I cast no aspersions on anybody involved, but I do think it's a pretty good thing to keep track of. I don't know what Glendale's doing now, but I know they made some changes. The schedule of all events attended and the sponsoring organization for the entire duration of the trip. Any and all costs of city employees traveling with the elected officials, so if other city employees are going with you, I guess. Included but not limited to air travel, transportation, food, lodging, conference fees, employee costs, benefits, salaries, etc. for the duration of the travel. Again, that doesn't seem unreasonable, given that, it's probably pretty expensive. Any and all meetings with federal, state, or political committee or lobbyist while traveling outside Maricopa County. I will remind everybody that if the president travels for political purposes, my understanding is that the campaign, or I guess the person themselves, has to reimburse the country for the use of Air Force One. And so if they have to do it, I guess I don't understand why we wouldn't. And Brad, I think when I talked to you, you said all of this was stuff we could do. Is that a fair? You didn't tell me to take anything out. Is that a layman's way of saying it's okay, legal-wise?
Yeah, there's no reason why a transparency website couldn't be created with these items. There's no legal reason.
Okay, just wanted to
There
make
there
sure.
might be other security reasons, but there's no legal
Understand.
reason.
And we're not asking where everybody's going necessarily, just how much it's costing. If any item purchased for anyone other than the person being reimbursed with city money, you must state who it was purchased for, and all expenses should be shown as individual line items for clarity for the public by each purchase and include receipts. And this paragraph excludes travel which is personally paid for by the mayor or the councilman's campaign committee. There's no reason for that to be on there. If you're transported in a city vehicle or by a city employee to any campaign, political, or personal event, it should be reported. There's an issue right now, as I talked about a couple weeks ago, that's over at the Attorney General's office about just such a matter at the state level. Transportation costs include, but are not limited to, staff time, benefits, salary, etc., and costs of any and all vehicles used to facilitate transportation, the depreciation on the cars, the gas, etc. A list of membership dues and conferences attended by the mayor and council members. Campaign finance reports are easily and clearly posted on the website. I don't know why this couldn't be. And we should also have, because this has come up recently, the online lobbyist registration form and database, searchable if that's possible. I am not the tech guy, so others will have to decide that. That includes the employer and all clients. Again, I think such a thing exists at the state level, if I'm not mistaken. Chris, I think you're nodding your head, so I think that's right. So I don't know why we couldn't do it. It sounds like we didn't. Obviously, there was a recent issue about the lobbying thing. Obviously, I don't think any of us would have any way of knowing who signed up to be a lobbyist and who didn't. That's not really our responsibility. There's really no way for us to know. But it would make it easier for the public, I guess, to know, or reporters, et cetera. So that's really what we're looking for. I mean, if it goes to the Transportation Subcommittee, all fine people, I'm sure they'll make good decisions and so forth. But, you know, I thought we'd have more of a discussion of this, but we're kind of having it now, so that's fine with me.
All right, you have read the letter that was sent yesterday at 5 p.m. I don't know if you indicated you were going to vote yes or no. The other council members are going to vote no to send it to transportation. No, 3 no votes to send it to Councilwoman Thelda Williams subcommittee. Any other comments? Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Wait, so I thought the floor was just open. Substitute motion. Brad, am I allowed to do it right now? I got called.
I don't think the floor was open.
Well, sure it was. We just had a discussion. You just answered a question.
No, as I understood it, Councilman Waring was explaining his vote. The mayor had already called for the roll call, and we had gone through 3 explanations of votes,
You would think so.
as I understood it.
Well, we're just having a side discussion here. You know, I am going to vote yes. The only reason I'm going back and forth
Councilman
is that-
DeCiccio will change his vote back to yes.
is
So it's
because
yes, then no.
it'll give me a
back to yes.
chance to keep
Yes.
bringing
All right,
this
go.
up.
So yes, roll call.
Pastor. Stark.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes, so the motion passes unanimously. Meeting's adjourned.